Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, my Hadith disciples, YouTubers, and viewers upon the Sunnah to another episode of 5 Minutes of Fa'idah. And what we're going to talk about this morning is the importance of the student of knowledge to make review, and also for the student of knowledge to use the specific times and the special places in studying and making review. If someone was to ask the question, when is the best time one should study the Quran, make review of what he has memorized from the Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, or even make review of the Quran that a person has memorized. If a student of knowledge is blessed enough to memorize the entire Quran and be from the Hufaz, to be from the Prophet, from the people that the Prophet ﷺ said, Hum ahlullahi wa khasatuh, they are the true people of Allah, the true servants of Allah, the chosen, selected slaves of Ar-Rahman subhanahu wa ta'ala, are the people of the Quran. We would say is that we have two types of etiquettes of revising the Quran. One is general etiquettes, general do's and don'ts, general pointers, and the second we have specific rules, specific pointers that vary from person to person. The scholars of the past, whenever they spoke on the etiquettes of seeking knowledge and its virtue and its excellence, many of them, such as Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi rahimahullah, who died in the 5th century, they spoke on the best time, the best place to memorize and review, and some of the things that a student of knowledge should avoid with regards to food and drink, things that will weaken one's memory, things which will cause a distraction, and things which will enhance one's memory, whether it's eating fish, whether it's avoiding sour foods, whether it is wearing the color green, whether it is sitting in a high elevated room, a high elevated place, whether it is avoiding sitting in an open public place with many pictures and sounds, noises and distractions in the background, etc. The ulama of the past, they spoke on how to memorize, how to enhance one's memory, and how to keep the knowledge that one gets initially, how to retain it. Because it's relatively easy to memorize in the beginning. It's relatively simple to memorize a hadith, to memorize a book, to memorize the Quran. But then a year later, 5 years later, 10 years later, the more knowledge that you seek, the more review you have to make. So the hadith disciple is in dire need of learning the proper ways of retaining that ilm, and not just getting it and running away from it and ignoring it. But now you have to preserve the knowledge, you have to enhance the knowledge, and you have to allow it to mature and safeguard it. So therefore, with regards to the Quran and its memorization, then some of the people of knowledge, they state that the two best times to memorize, study, and review the Quran is in the wee hours at the night and early in the morning after the Fajr prayer, or right before the Fajr prayer. And they use as a dalil what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Muzammil about the virtue of the night and how it is stronger and better and more substantial than the daytime. And also what Allah the Sublime and the Exalted mentions in Surah Al-Isra with regards to the angels attending the Fajr prayer and the recitation of the Quran at the time of Fajr. So they say from these two verses, it proves that these two times are virtuous and excellent. But that's in general. Every single person is different. Some people, they may have more success doing it in the daytime. They may have more success before the 5 daily prayers. And this is from the fringe benefits that you get from attending the Jama'ah Salah and sitting on the front row and making sure that you remain on the front row. And that is that you always get the chance to review the Quran. And when you get a chance to review the Quran, you're always on the front row. So it's as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Nurun ala nur. It's light upon light. You can never lose. You never fail to benefit if you're a student of knowledge who takes advantage of his or her time. So therefore, the talib al-ilm, he has to gauge what is beneficial for him or her, along with the instructions of your teacher, the help of your teacher, and most importantly, the slow passage of time, experience. You have to learn through trial and through error. As it states, knowledge is only based off of learning. Until the next episode of F.M.F, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow all of you to be in His protection. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.